Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. We have a newly released document for you this evening, declassified just a few hours ago. It was written during the final few moments, literally, of the Obama administration on Inauguration Day by the National Security Advisor. It reveals what you may have suspected. FBI Director Jim Comey considered himself more powerful than any elected American president. In the name of defending democracy, in other words, Comey rejected democracy's main tenet and put himself completely in charge. No election necessary. It's all a chilling glimpse of how things actually work in Washington. We've got the details just ahead. But first, for 3 years, our entire professional class hectored us about the overweening threat we supposedly faced from Russia. Russia, you remember, had somehow hacked American democracy during the 2016 presidential campaign. Russian agents had infiltrated our government at the highest levels. Honorable former naval officers, people who seemed honorable anyway, like Carter Page, were in fact secret stooges of Vladimir Putin's, and they were working toward diabolical ends with political consultants like Roger Stone. It was all hiding in plain sight, and it was working. Forget Mexico or Saudi Arabia or the United Arab Emirates or many other countries. It was Russia, more than any other place, that threatened America's sovereignty, that was actually in control of our foreign policy. That's the story they told us. None of it was ever plausible. In fact, it was completely absurd. It was obviously absurd. There was never any evidence that it was true. But they kept saying it day after tiresome day until it stuck. Until every single CNN viewer, every single PBS donor, every subscriber to the New Yorker magazine believed it as a matter of religious faith. Russia hacked our democracy. It was almost on their tote bags. It was their mantra.
The Russians exploited a massive backdoor into the foundation of our democracy.
Moscow's attack on American democracy.
The work by Russian agents to try to destabilize American democracy.
It's everything you need to know about the threat to our democracy.
You have Republicans who are silent and seemingly okay with this kind of attack on our democracy.
There is no question that Russia attacked us.
Were attacks, ladies and gentlemen, on our Constitution.
Attack on the integrity of our elections.
An attack on our democracy.
The first time we've had an adversary attack us that we have not responded.
These people brandishing their silly credentials like we have a moral obligation to listen to them because they know what they're talking about. They were fools, reading their stupid talking points again and again like they were real. But they were doing it for a reason. The beauty of the Russia fable was that it allowed these people, our ruling class, to ignore the huge number of actual problems the United States faced, problems that in many cases they caused or at very least failed to solve. The drug addiction crisis that has killed tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands over time, the border that is essentially open, a disappearing middle class, the core of our country, the rise of China, and then, of course, any number of counterproductive foreign wars that should have ended long ago. For 3 years, nobody in Washington talked about any of this. In fact, failing to worry about Russia exclusively invited suspicion on you. If you wanted, for example, American troops home from the Middle East, or if you wondered aloud why no one seemed to care when your 23-year-old niece died of a fentanyl OD, that might be evidence you too were colluding with Russia. And that's not an exaggeration. Susan Rice, who seems smart, she went to Stanford, admitted later that she decided Michael Flynn was a Russian spy because he talked too much about China. And that's what Russian spies do. Now, Donald Trump was elected, no one thought he would be, precisely because he talked about issues like these, the ones that mattered. That was a massive threat. So they derailed, to a large extent, his first-term agenda, using a hoax concocted by the administration he replaced. Who benefited from this? Well, the people who thought it up, but no